Well, we've gone from a we've gone for a roller coaster ride this whole season. What a season it's been! Arguably the greatest season, definitely greater than season 2. But this season's been crazy. The first 14 rounds, I guess you could say. The only 14 rounds, the last 14 rounds, have all been crazy. But the last 2-3 races have been what's made, shaped this championship battle, going to the final Grand Prix in Sao Paulo, Interlagos, the Carlos Pache circuit. We have 2 championship fighters, as you can see. Charles Leclerc and George Russell. 6 points is what separates them from that illustrious driver championship. George Russell, he managed to win the championship last year with a race spare. But this year, Charles Leclerc's come back, and he's come back better than ever. Lando Norris though, he was leading the championship for pretty much half the season. At one point, I thought maybe it was meant to be. Maybe he was meant to be the Season 3 World Champion. But he struggled with poor run of form, and obviously his qualifying needs to improve. Carlos Sainz though, we all remember that phenomenal win, race 2 in China. His first win. Another win followed up since then. But what a season it's been for Carlos Sainz. Pierre Gasly also getting his first 2 poles of the season. But no win yet. Max Verstappen, probably the most unexpected race winner out of the race winners this year. He managed to get a race win 2 races ago at Australia. Sergio Perez hasn't had that good of a season. I guess you could say it's been his worst in the sport, in the unlimited racing universe. But it's still in the fight for P6 in the championship. Esteban Ocon and Alex Albon, same points, with Alex Lynn finishing off the top 10. Lewis Hamilton, this is going to be his last race before he retires. What a race driver. We're going to miss him, and definitely he was my childhood, and still is, my childhood idol. Good luck to him in the future. It's going to be an emotional one, I can tell you that for sure. I hope I don't cry at the end of the video. Mick Schumacher in P12. 2 points what separates him and Nico Hülkenberg. Callum Ilott should have P14 sorted. However, Kevin Magnussen has Yuki Tsunoda 5 points behind. Daniel Ricciardo, he should have P17. Lance Stroll should have P18. Valtteri Bottas, Nikita Mazepin battling for the little crumbs. Constructors wise, Alpine have won it, McLaren second, but look at the gap between Alfa Romeo and Mercedes. 1 point is what separates the two of them. Force India, they're P5, and they've managed to build a good lead, healthy one too, on Williams. Ferrari, I think they should have P7. It's going to be the first year Aston finish in P7, with Red Bull and AlphaTauri 9th and 10th. This not only is going to be Lewis Hamilton's final race, but it's going to be the final race before the new rules. The new rules, everything, I think everything's going to be getting reset. I need to check again. But you can feel the tension, Tension is running high here at Interlagos. George Russell so far though, doing everything he can to win the World Championship. He knows how to win a World Championship. He's done it once before. He did it last season. Charles Leclerc though, he knows that if he finishes second, the championship is his. Getting pole position though, it looks like it's George Russell as the rain comes down very late on. George Russell getting P1. P2 though, it is not Charles Leclerc. It is Lando Norris, the man who struggled so much with qualifying. Now he is mathematically out of the championship race. Maybe a little less pressure on him to perform, and now he's managed to pull a P2 out of the bag. P2 is also still mathematically possible in the Drivers' Championship, although George Russell would have to have a nightmare of a Grand Prix from here. Carlos Sainz starting P3 with Charles Leclerc, the championship leader, starting P4. How significant will that be in the championship fight? Pierre Gasly P5, Alex Lynn P6, Max Verstappen P7, Esteban Ocon P8, Lewis Hamilton P9 for his final qualifying, and Alex Albon P10. Sergio Perez had a poor qualifying this time out, qualifying P11 with the two Haas boys, occupying P12 and P13. Mick Schumacher P14 with the Ferrari boys in row 8. Lance Stroll leads the Red Bull sandwich with Nikita Mazepin starting at the back of the grid once again. Everyone's starting on wets. Let's do this for one final time. 5 lights and away we go. Here at Interlagos, George Russell has managed not to get the best of starts because now Lando Norris has the lead. Coming out of the center S's, now going into turn 4. Lando Norris still has the lead, but George Russell's all over him. This was a very safe start from all of the top 5 drivers. Further back you can see overtakes being made left, right and center. There, Pierre Gasly losing a few positions. Verstappen going a bit wide, but now that's Ocon and Gasly running P5 and P6. Verstappen's going to try to go around the outside of Gasly, Perez down the inside of Gasly, and they both managed to make the move stick. However, commentators curse, Verstappen loses the position almost immediately. Up to the front though, George Russell's going around the outside of Lando Norris. He knows this is going to be a big move, and he makes the move stick. However, Norris, using some of his errs, manages to get P1 back. Charles Leclerc, I understand he's trying to be cautious, but he really needs to get rid of Carlos Sainz. George Russell round the outside of Lando Norris as Charles Leclerc goes down the inside of Carlos Sainz. Russell P1, Charles Leclerc P4. Leclerc though is coming back for more. Can he get him? It's going to be a brave move. Instead, Carlos Sainz gets Lando Norris. Now, if the race were to finish now, George Russell would be your Season 3 World Champion, and he would be World Champion for a second year running. It looks like now Charles Leclerc finally has P2. They're all pitting for the dry tyres. The track is dried. I didn't even realize the rain had stopped. But George Russell now has to do everything that he can do. He's out on the hards. His teammate is also out on the hards. Sainz also on the hards. Lando though, he's got nothing to lose. Whatever happens, he will finish P3. So he's on the softs. He's going to try and get some more TV time by getting into an interlocking battle with Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris around the outside is going to make the move. He's got errs, and he gets the move done. Lando Norris gets the move done. So once again, Charles Leclerc is in the same position he was a couple of laps ago. But if it were to finish like this, George Russell would become world champion. Russell's doing everything that he can do at the moment to become world champion. Norris though, he really wants this race win as well. Norris, is he going to go down the inside, the outside, inside, outside, outside he picks. Even with some errs to spare, manages to get the move done and blocks off George Russell. Whilst we're watching this battle, I hear Carlos Sainz has managed to overtake Charles Leclerc. There you can see it. But George Russell takes back the lead, takes control of the lead once again. That McLaren's quick through the middle sector though. That's where Lando is getting most of his time, through the middle sector, start of the final sector. Now down this straight, Lando can just position his car. However, Carlos Sainz going around the outside of George Russell. Will he make? No, he won't. Charles Leclerc though, he's doing everything. It's just not been the best race from Charles Leclerc, you know. However, one overtake and everything changes. If he can overtake Sainz in the foreseeable future, things change once again. Norris still ahead of Russell. Russell's got a really bad exit off the final corner. Leclerc's much faster. Then Sainz, you can see him making the move. As it happens, Norris dives down into the pits. And now, Leclerc. He's got a much better run. He's going to go down the inside, surely. Yes, he makes the late move. And Charles Leclerc for the lead, for the championship lead once again. Charles Leclerc takes back P1 in both the Drivers' Championship and this current Grand Prix. We're halfway through this Grand Prix, however, Russell uses some O's to get back past his teammate. Russell in, Leclerc in. Norris takes P1 once again. Whatever Russell does, Leclerc will do. He's taking minimal risk. Whilst that's happening, I think Carlos Sainz has just lost out to the Mercedes. The Mercedes duo of Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. Remember, that's another big battle. The battle for P3 in the championship, and it looks like it will be going to Mercedes. After 2 horrible seasons, it looks like Mercedes will be getting P3. Or have I just jinxed it? Alex Lynn, though, is running P11 for Alfa Romeo. Their only hope, their saving grace, has to be Carlos Sainz is going down the inside. No, because Esteban Ocon pits. Back at the top, Norris leads from Russell to Pierre Gasly's managed to get Charles Leclerc. 5 laps to go. One more pit stop, I think. I believe one more pit stop. Although, if you're George Russell, I don't think he will be pitting again. Lando Norris, I think he will pit again. Maybe next lap, I think he'll pit. But right now, George Russell's doing everything he can in his power. Leclerc, as I said previously, whatever George does, Charles will do. Carlos Sainz, though, has managed to get a mega exit out of the center S, but as I say that, turn 3, just got a little squirmish on the exit, corner exit. Sainz down the inside of Charles Leclerc. Now, they're meeting up with some of the back markers. You can see a move though. George Russell's making a move for the lead. I think, yeah, Norris dives into the pits. We're all talking about the championship fight, but in this current race, George Russell, Lando Norris still has an opportunity to win this race. He comes out in front of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's gonna go down the inside with us. Norris retakes that. Now that Norris has managed to overtake Leclerc, Leclerc's going to have to pray, hope and pray that George Russell gets overtaken by him too. This is going to be such a tense end. This is going to be so tense. Do not leave this video, ladies and gentlemen, because the championship's going to be decided in the last 2 laps. The gap between Lando Norris and George Russell is closing, 3.7. If Lando Norris can get this overtake, then that will really help Charles Leclerc. And he will become world champion. Gap 2.4. As the late great Mario Walker once said though, is one thing catching up, another thing passing. However, with the gap closing so quickly, so rapidly, and the back markers getting out the way so swiftly, I think George Russell may have some problem defending this. This is for his championship though. He's gonna have to defend for his life if he wants that second world championship. Lando Norris round the outside of George Russell gets the lead. And now, with 1 lap to go, Lando Norris could win his 3rd race, win of the season. George Russell will lose the championship if it finishes like this. However, the cameras have switched focus from Lando Norris to Charles Leclerc. Because if Charles Leclerc gets overtaken by Pierre Gasly, then all of a sudden the championship changes again. There's Pierre Gasly going down the inside of Charles Leclerc. Is he going to make the move stick? I think he does, and he has. Not only has he taken P3, but has made the move stick. Lando Norris, he's going to cross the line to win the race once again. But sadly, the headlines will not be with him. The headlines will be on one of the Alpines. George Russell's done everything in his power to win this World Championship, but will he be able to do it? It's not over till it's over. Pierre Gasly, P3, Charles Leclerc, P4. Give us the results. Give us the results. Carlos Sainz, P5. Esteban Ocon, P6. P7 though. It looks like Lewis Hamilton in his final Grand Prix overtakes Sergio Perez for P7. Sergio Perez, P8. Max Verstappen, P9. This is how it finished. Alex Albon, P10. Alex Lynn, P11. Yuki Tsunoda, P12. Daniel Ricciardo, P13. Mick Schumacher, P14. Lance Stroll, P15. Callum Ilott, P16. Kevin Magnussen, P17. Nikita Mazepin, P18. Nico Hülkenberg, poor result from him, P19. Valtteri Bottas, P20. This is how the championship has ended. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your Season 3 World Champion. Charles Leclerc has won his first ever championship and has done it by 1 point. 1 single point. He's managed to beat his teammate and closest rival, George Russell. Lando Norris, P3. What a season he's had. This has definitely been his breakout year, and I think next year he'll be back to challenge, even in the last 2 races, for this Drivers' Championship. Carlos Sainz, P4. What a season he's had, and he thoroughly deserves that P4. Pierre Gasly finishing 11 points away in P5. Max Verstappen, P6. Sergio Perez, P7. Esteban Ocon, P8. Just about losing out to Perez, but beating Albon with Lynn, P10. Hamilton in his final Grand Prix. This is when we say farewell to a legend of the sport. Season 1, that was his closest time of winning the World Championship. Once again, that one went to the wire, right down to the wire. But he lost it to who? It was Max Verstappen. It was Max Verstappen who beat Lewis Hamilton to it. The AlphaTauri, back when Lewis Hamilton drove for AlphaTauri. He won the Constructors' Championship the first time. What a legend. We're going to miss him. Anyways, Mick Schumacher finished P12. Nico Hülkenberg, P13. Callum Ilott, P14. Kevin Magnussen, P15. Just managed to beat Yuki Tsunoda by the closest of margins. I guess it had to go down to who scored points on a more regular basis. Daniel Ricciardo, P17. Believe what I'm going to say. That Red Bull's going to be rapid next year. Watch. Just watch. Just you watch. Lance Stroll, P18. Valtteri Bottas, P19. Nikita Mazepin, P20. Constructors wise, here is how it looks. Well, Alpine, they wrapped it up race 1, let's be honest. Race 1 of last season, they wrapped it up. McLaren finishing P2. Mercedes, they finally managed to beat Alfa Romeo. 10 points was the gap. 1 point was the gap getting into this weekend. For 5th, it looks like Austin did just about manage to beat Williams on it. They really struggled the second part of the season, Williams. Ferrari, P7. They just about managed to get P7 though. Look at Haas. 1 point behind they were. So close. That's the first year Haas in the history of the sport that Haas haven't finished P7. Red Bull P9 and AlphaTauri P10, but what a season we've had. This year has been crazy, honestly. We've had so many different race winners. I think we've had 5. Charles Leclerc, George Russell. Charles Leclerc actually didn't win any races till race 4. George Russell winning race 1 and race 3. It looked like he would cruise to a second world championship, but little did we know. Carlos Sainz got his first ever race win. Lando Norris also got his first ever race wins. And Max Verstappen, the man who we thought had lost it, came back and surprised us all 2 races ago in Melbourne. Anyway, thank you for being with me, not only for this race, but throughout the whole entirety of the season. Can't wait to see you next year in pre-season back in Spain. Thank you and goodbye.